Good evening, gorgeous souls. I wanted to jump on here and talk to you guys about why cancer is more of a spiritual disease instead of a. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. And not just a physical. I've kind of been touching on this topic over the last week, and a lot of this has to do with emotional based stuff and how we store it into our spiritual bodies. For you guys that don't really know what some of my background is, I've been dabbling in like metaphysics and more in like the spiritual realm of healing and stuff like that for Misha for the last, I don't know, 10 years, really. And so as I walked through my journey of having cancer, I realized that for me personally, it was not a physical ailment. It was not caused by something I ate. It was not caused by something that I drank. It was solely due to the fact that I had trauma buried within my own being, in my own aura, in my own spirit, you know, whatever you choose to call that entity. And it was something that manifested itself over years and years and years and years of trauma and sweeping that trauma underneath the rug. So I kind of want to share, I want to get vulnerable with you guys for a moment and share a story from when I was a child that was kind of a trauma. In my household, we kind of grew up religious, to say the least. My dad was a really strict person, and sex was not something that was talked about in my household. It just wasn't. As a child, I can remember not watching my parents be that affectionate of people. And when anytime that something was talked about, like kissing, or there was like something sexual on TV, I can remember how appalled my dad would get at it and like, turn that off. And he would just get really erratic and kind of freak out. So that led me with kind of having some trauma-based stuff around sexual things. And so I stored those emotions for a really long time in my life, and I believe that's part of what led to my ailments over time due to that. Hey, you guys, thanks for jumping on, you guys, and checking this out. So, you know, that was something that led me to be really awkward in that realm in my life. It was really uncomfortable, and I just always had a lot of really weird feelings about it, you know. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I had such negative feelings and negative views on all of that stuff. I had a lot of feelings that were buried alive that never died. Disease, you know, feelings, traumas, emotions manifest on an emotional and energetic level, and then they will manifest themselves physically. It's kind of like, the best example that I can give you guys is kind of like, you know, when you're in having an altercation with somebody and you can start to feel your blood boil in a sense. That's the best way that I can find to describe it. And you can start feeling the sweat coming on, your body gets hot. You start to feel your shoulders getting tense. You're starting to get a tension headache. That's kind of what I'm talking about when I'm saying that feelings buried alive never die. So for those of you that know who Louise Hayes is, this is something that she talked about tons for years. She is considered to be a metaphysical expert, and her understanding is that cancer is often the product of unresolved fears and traumas. So with myself, I had a lot of fears growing up of, you know, with how strict my dad was, and I was kind of always considered a golden child. He always held me to a really high standard. He was that same way with my sister. And so I always had these fears of not being good enough, always feeling inadequate, and not always feeling to my full potential, even though that wasn't the case. But as we are children, we get fed these things from our parents, and them telling us certain things and treating us a certain way, not necessarily to hurt us, but that's how it's internalized. It's internalized as a trauma, and that stuck with me for years and years and years, guys. And honestly, I really don't feel like I dealt with it all that well. So this is something that I left unresolved. And I believe to my core that this is why I got sick. Because I was like the epitome of a health nut, okay? I didn't buy processed foods before I got cancer. I drank a gallon of water a day. I rarely ever missed a workout. I didn't eat candy. I have not drinking a soda since I was like 16 years old. You know, I had natural cleaners in my house, so it's like, for what other reason would I have gotten cancer? I don't have a history of ovarian cancer in my family, and I still ended up with it. And the only conclusion that in my mind and in my experience is that this stress that is left inside of our bodies has caused inflammation inside of our spiritual bodies, our emotional bodies, and our physical bodies. And that's what my emotions manifested itself as. Because once we leave things unresolved for so long, it has to eventually be dealt with. You know, sorry, I'm trying to find my word. When we internalize something and keep internalizing and stacking things up, and up, we will eventually not be able to swallow those emotions anymore, and we blow a gasket. We explode. And I don't know anybody that in their lifetime, unless you're a monk, that hasn't had that experience to some capacity. I know that I am really guilty of that. Anyway, so I just kind of want to leave you guys with this, that when we allow negative feelings to manifest in our bodies, it will eventually manifest itself physically. I can also attest to, I think, the fact that this was a byproduct of what my dad got sick with in his cancer, that he had a really, 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 really rough life. And he was not a man that was emotional. He was very loving and kind, but he was cold emotionally. And I feel like when somebody doesn't allow themselves to feel and walk through the hellfires, we can't truly heal. And if we can't truly heal, we're always in a state of disease and sickness. And the longer that you let these things go on in your life, the worse it's going to get. And I literally let my shit and my baggage that I didn't own, that I was in denial, that I was creating all of these lies and fantasies in my life, is what led me to be sick. Now, I think that there are a multitude of reasons as to why people get cancer, but it starts with the spirit body, and it starts with your emotions. That's where all this stuff comes from. You know, it's not just something that one day we wake up and we're like, oh, boom, here it is. We have to get out of this cycle of being sick, guys. You guys need to start, and we all need to Abby, I can value your opinion. I don't necessarily fully agree with that. Just because that was not my experience. That's okay, girl. I can value your opinion. That's cool. Anyway, but I'm going to leave you guys with that. Thanks, Bruce, for jumping on. I'm relating this from my own experience from just being a healthy person. And you also have to think, what creates your cells to mutate? Mutating cells come from having some sort of deficiency and something wrong with your body. Okay, so when you have unresolved fears and trauma stored inside your body, that creates a stress response. That creates inflammation. Inflammation helps to cause cancer. Okay, I'm not saying that it's all completely a spiritual disease. I'm just saying, in my experience, that's what I believe what caused mine. Because I was a healthy person. I took care of myself. And at the end of the day, the only thing that was wrong with me at that time is that I had unresolved bullshit that I was not taking care of. So I had this stress that allowed me to be in a fight, flight, or freeze mode for years and years and years that created a stress response and left tons of inflammation in my body. That's what resonates with me, and that's totally fine. This is talking about cancer, talking about any health issue is really something that can get a lot of people's blood boiling. I see this every day, and it's cool. I'm good with people not agreeing with what I have to say. That's totally fine too. Anyway, I'm going to hop off here, guys. And that's what I have to say is that I love helping people. This is my passion. If you guys out there need any help or you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Anyway, actually, you know what? Let me finish the story with my dad. Okay. I'm going to get really vulnerable with you guys. This is a lot of things that only my personal family know and some of my friends. I'm going to relate this all back to my dad because, like I said, he was a very cold and emotional person, and he treated my sister and I very harshly in a lot of ways, and I'm thankful for him today and the things that he did teach me, but that didn't come without a huge sacrifice, okay? He died of pancreatic cancer. From the time that he was diagnosed to the time that he passed away, he lived 5 weeks. And you know what he told me? I asked him, I said, you know, what can you do to better your life? And he said, nothing. I said, what do you mean there's nothing, Dad? What does that mean? And he lived with years and years and years of regret because of the things that he did and the things that he experienced through his life. You know, at the age of 9 or 10, he had a really hard life. He grew up with extremely abusive parents. His mom tried killing him, his brother, and his 2 sisters by setting the house on fire when he was 10 years old. He woke up, smelled the smoke, and had to get his siblings out of the house. There were times his family was part of the KKK back in like the 1960s in Arkansas, which is where he was born and raised. And I mean, can you guys imagine living in this time? What kind of trauma and traumatic things somebody being white would have seen with their family in the KKK? Just, you guys think about that, okay? Now, I'm not sitting here claiming that my life was nearly as bad as his was, or anybody else that I know that's even sitting here watching this. What I'm getting at is that when you walk your life and you have this stored trauma inside of yourself and you don't rid yourself of it, it is a proven fact that stress causes inflammation, okay? Inflammation is pretty much the entire root of all of our diseases in our life. Whether the food you're eating's creating inflammation, what you're drinking is inflammation, or the things, your emotions create inflammation in your body, okay? Cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, okay? That's what balances you out, okay? So if you are stressed, you're producing cortisol. Cortisol causes inflammation. So, and there's the science behind it. And again, it's okay, guys. I'm totally okay if this doesn't resonate with you. My purpose in sharing this is because people need to understand that there is a way that you can start helping yourself and moving your life forward so you don't get these diseases, so you don't get sick. And there is a spiritual aspect to it. I was lacking something in my life where I needed to heal, okay? You know, and it's kind of, and I'll put it to you guys this way too. Okay, you ever notice how you keep finding yourselves running around in circles and you're constantly finding yourself in the same situation over and over and over and over again, right? I know and can personally attest to this, that's life knocking on your door to tell you, saying, hey, wake up, there's opportunity on this side, or hey, wake up, you have this issue that needs to be dealt with. And when you keep kicking the door shut, and you don't wake up, you're creating resistance in your life. And the more resistance that you add to your life, the more you're going to end up having to fight and fight and fight. And it's always going to be a struggle. Thanks, Misha. Hey, Tony, how's it going? Thanks for jumping on. Okay. When we have a resistance in that life, it only perpetuates the problem. So you get the snowball effect, okay? And then you're eventually going to have this cascading avalanche. Well, guess what? In 2015, I sat in my doctor's office after getting scans, after thinking that I was either had endometriosis and polycystic ovaries, after being one of the most healthy people that I know. I had cancer. I had cancer because I literally walked my life with having this unresolved trauma in my life that I never dealt with because I was the queen of sweeping shit underneath the rugs. I'm, to this day, one of the greatest assets that my dad left me with is being too forgiving. I was the queen of literally, people would do crappy things to me and I'd sweep it under the rug because I didn't want to be that person. Well, guess what? Because I left my stuff unresolved, it made me sick. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. Please, 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 please take care of yourselves. So I'm a holistic wellness practitioner, guys. I also am studying NLP and hypnosis and coaching right now. And I'm here to help you guys. If you guys have any questions, you guys need a door to walk through to be vulnerable at, my door is always opened. Hey, Megan, you know what? Thank you for saying that because that means so much to me to you say that because, girl, I know you've had some hard stuff in your life and you're strong too. So thank you. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. But yeah, I have one thing that I want to share with you guys because I'm so excited about it. And this is why I'm like getting so fired up in this video is because I wrote a book last year. It's taken me forever to get this finished, but I'm finally releasing it on Thursday. I'm so excited. And it talks about how I got rid of my cancer naturally in 7 months just by switching my diet, taking supplements, and getting my mind right. I did it. And it's true. I did no chemo, no radiation, and no surgery. I am so blessed to be able to bring this story to you guys. Anyway, I am going to, you guys, thank you so much for all the comments. I want to cry right now. Thank you guys for letting me share this with you guys because I feel like this has been really important. Aaron and Erica, Tony and Kim, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in and sitting and letting me share this with you because this is something that is so important. So important. Yes, Erica, that makes me so sad. You know what really makes me sad? When my dad got cancer, and this is how serious this is, you guys, especially that this is like, it starts right here inside, is that, okay, so I have been a holistic wellness practitioner for over 10 years now. My dad passed away from pancreatic cancer almost 5 years ago. This August will be 5 years. And my husband and I tried getting him on like more of a holistic path and tried to help him. And these words stuck with me and I'll never forget them. He literally looked at me in my face and he said, I love you, but I don't want any of your witchy woo stuff. He's like, I don't believe in it. I don't think it'll work. And I said, okay. And a year and a half later, after he passed away, I got cancer. Now imagine the mind fuck that this sent me through. Thinking I'm like, I'm 30 years old and I have cancer. I had a daughter and I had family to take care of. I had clients that I cared about that I wasn't ready to leave. Like I wasn't ready to go. But the thing that you have to do and you have to understand is that you have to flip the switch in your brain to be able to process it long enough to be able to understand that your body is anatomically designed to heal itself when it has what it needs. And most of that starts right here and right here, and blending the two so you can give your body and your mind what it needs so you can start to heal. And guess what? I live this every day in my holistic wellness practice, and I see the changes that people are making. From taking our supplements, from getting the coaching, just even the people that we sit and talk inside of our daily lives, I'm seeing the changes. People are getting off their medication. People are getting well, and they're changing their lives. And that's the most important thing, is that you're not thriving in sick care anymore. For the first time in people's lives, they're having health care. People are getting better, they're healing, and they're getting a multitude of blessings in their life because they're taking that step, getting their mind right, getting their body right. And you can say now that you can truly thrive for the first time in your life. It's amazing. It's exciting. People are finally waking up and they're grasping all this information and just gobbling it up, and it's there for the taking. And again, I'm going to remind you guys, I'm going to put the link to my book in the comments because it's coming out on Thursday. I'm giving it away for free. I'm not charging you guys a dime for it because this is valuable information that people need to see and they need to hear. Guess what, guys? You all have what it takes to take your power back and your control back in your life. Inside your heart, your soul, and your mind, you have that power. You just have to be open and ready to receive those gifts and bless yourself. Realize and channel how important you are. Not to mention, once you start healing yourself, you have a duty to share that story too. I love you guys. I'm gonna do my meditation practice. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna meditate. I love you guys. Have a great night. Again, my door is always open, so if you guys need somebody, I'm here. Love you guys. Have a good night. Kim, you know what? I've missed you too. I've been kind of watching what you've been going through too. You, lady, are a strong woman. And I'm blessed to have you in my life and call you my friend. I love you guys.